Okay, Cancer. I know I haven't made a video for you guys. Then again, everybody else beyond Gemini for their readings because life happens. But this time I'm going to actually try and, make sure that everybody else gets included. So, since you're probably most likely new here, the way that my readings go is the first dark goddess that comes out of this oracle deck is the one that's in power or the one that favors you, meaning that this is the goddess that is going to be the most beneficial or the type of energy that's actually going to be giving you the most help. The next one is the one you have to seek out or get the most guidance from, or her qualities you have to intake more to actually gain the most out of this week. And then the last goddess to come out, the third one, is the one that's the feisty one that's telling you, we have to do this again? Okay, Posto. Might feel slight pressure. The one you can't forget. Meaning that the one that's reminding you to not forget this necessary skill and this talent that you hopefully learned, because you're going to need it for this week. And then after that, we'll go into the tarot. Goddess in power, Isis for resurrection. You must seek out Hell for concealment, but I don't agree with that one. I don't agree with that word they assigned to her because that's kind of a bit lazy. And you mustn't forget Sheila Nig for desperation. So, Cancer. Okay. The one who favors you being Isis for resurrection. Pretty much right now, you're in a week that you can actually restaurate or rejuvenate a side of you that brought you the most security, the most wealth, the most sense of being fulfilled. And the side of you that was able to actually put out the most in the world and pretty much throughout the whole rest of your life. The state where you're at your best, you have a chance to bring it back up and actually start gaining again, start having more self-confidence, and pretty much having a better quality of life, being resurrected again. You must seek out Hell for concealment, but we're not going to go with that word because I'm pretty close with Hell. And concealment is not, it's not really the most fitting for her. Instead, what I'm going to say is, you must seek out the acceptance of yourself, no matter how good, bad, or dreadful it is. Because with Hell, she's the only divine entity that accepts anybody how they are. Good, bad, dreadful, ugly, murderous, baneful, malefic. She's the only one that accepts anybody for anything. She doesn't judge anybody. She doesn't turn anybody away. She accepts you exactly how you are. So, seeking to find out, or what you must seek out, is the acceptance of yourself, regardless of how good you are, how bad mistakes you've made. No matter what the case is, you have to learn to accept yourself all the time. Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect. In fact, if that was the case, this life would be pretty boring. But at the end of the day, when you're bringing yourself back to your best state, you're not going to be lying to yourself anymore. You're going to be in a state and accepting yourself 100%. And you need to be able to do that. Because if you can't do that and can't accept yourself, nobody's going to accept you. And you mustn't forget sheath the Nick for desperation. Now, in this term of forgetting to not forget about this desperation, don't forget that you have to be desperate for yourself. You have to put your needs first, and you have to put your well-being first, no matter what. You have to be desperate to make sure that you're staying alive and you're doing your best. Because if you're being desperate for somebody else, it can be taken advantage of. When you're desperate for yourself, you're not taking advantage of nobody. You have to do what you have to do for yourself to make sure you're standing up on your own 2 feet first. Because when you're being desperate for you, you're ensuring that your well-being is the primary focus. There's nothing wrong with putting yourself first, because without you, there's nothing. If you're not standing, if you're not well, if you're not fending for yourself, and if you kick the bucket because of it, you can't really do anything else. So you have to be desperate for your well-being first. So those are the goddesses for you this week. The deck that you're going to be having with is Tarot de la Nuit. Oh, and I also would like it to people who are cross-watching. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand everybody has those curiosities, like, I wonder how this other zodiac sign that I'm involved with, I wonder if they're doing something nice or being stupid. Nothing wrong with that. And if you're actually using, like, these other zodiac sign ratings for yourself, as in looking at a certain position in your astrology chart placement, like to see how is this sector of my life being ruled by this sign. If you're actually using it for that matter, that's not for the cross-watching, because you're watching for yourself in that sector, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with cross-watching. Just make sure you don't become overly obsessed about it, like, I have to know what this mean Scorpio is telling me or whatever, because I think he's sticking it elsewhere. Well, maybe you're just not being devoted enough. Maybe you're not appreciating the overkill devotion and commitment that they're giving to you, that they're willing to, stick a knife in somebody's neck. But yeah. We'll just see what comes out for you. And the spread I'll be using is a 4 elemental spread with 3 advice cards, because your goddesses or your 5th element or your spiritual energy for the week. Regarding your health, finances, and stability and comfort, we have the 2 of Wands. So, currently, right now, you might be in a situation where you're kind of conflicted about something that was once there, like a job or something that used to give you security, now can't really give you that much support, because now you're picking its head up, like thinking like, dude, why are you dead? How come you're not doing anything anymore? So now you're kind of conflicted if you really want to try and invest in this thing that's kicked the bucket and try and really bring it back to life and start it all over again. Or you're thinking about, you know what, I'm kind of done with this bony guy, this bony investment that's now not really doing much. I kind of want to punt it. But you're in a state where you need to make a very, 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 very careful choice. And you can kind of tell the frustration in her face where she's just like, oh my god, I'm really sick of this crap. But I don't know if I should let you go because you're kind of like dead weight. Oh, I don't know. I mean, the burning desire is really... I don't know what to do. But the thing is that no matter what your choice is, you have to make sure it is the best choice for you. Not the bony thing. Because you can have an investment that you've put in a lot of work with, and it's been dead for a while, and it's still not coming back, so you're having to, like, just, if you have to do it, then you have to do it. If it's not giving you any kind of health, wealth, or gains of any kind, just punt it. I know it's easier said than done. Or even if you have, like, a health condition, a possible way that you've been doing your, ways of curing the ailment haven't been working and the doctor hasn't been taking it seriously, get rid of the doctor. Because if he's not doing his job to make you well, then he don't need to have you money for doing nothing, sitting there sticking the finger up his nose. Or better yet, it's the other way around. And Yeah, we don't need to be going that way. But anyway, for now, regarding your communication sector and interaction with others and intellect and pretty much anything regarding like your wisdom, intelligence, and book smarts and logical thinking, we have the Hermit. So you probably might be a little bit antisocial and anti-people today. You might be in a state where you want to actually self-reflect this week a lot more, be more introspective and think, I kind of want to have my pet help me out because she has a raven on her staff. And she's like, look, kid, look, I need to self-reflect for myself this week. I really don't give a crap. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm totally flattered that you want to spend time with me, but I have a lot more confidence in, my birdie friend over here, Mr. Pokey Poke. Why the heck did I call that Pokey Poke? But anyway, so Mr. Pokey Poke is going to give me some wisdom, and I'm going to, just go with him. So, yeah, you can take this shiny red lantern and stick it elsewhere, but toodaloo, I need to have some self-reflection. And in actuality, when you're by yourself, you actually gain wisdom. You start introspecting more. You start thinking more. So maybe consider taking that time to actually self-reflect on yourself and give yourself a nice little personal checklist to see how far you're standing. At the same time, too, this is also the sign of Virgo for the Hermit. So you might be considering to also interact with a Virgo more if you deem fit. Or something regarding your Virgo sector is actually telling you to do a lot more self-reflection. I say if you have like a moon in Virgo, possibly that this is an indication that you have to do a lot of self-reflection on your mind and the way you think. And also how you emote your emotions to the world, just as an example. But now for your flaming section. No, I'm not calling you one of, those rainbow people like I am. But if you are, yay, welcome to the club. But it's okay, don't worry. They're just jealous because they wish they were as colorful as we were. What? It's funny, go with it. Whatever. So, fire sector being what is going to be giving you the big motivating love tap this week. Or what's probably going to risk, becoming a challenge or an obstacle to you is the King of Twigs, the King of Wands. So, in this sector, it being the King of Wands, you actually might be facing the need to actually take the most action regarding something that you're really wanting to invest in. And going back to that Two of Wands, if there's an investment that you're really deciding to fight for, and if you choose to fight for it, well, you will have the energy to actually go in and grab it by the weave and say, okay, come on, Cupcake. You gotta be productive. Come on, let's go. Because the King of Wands is a figure that has a lot of zest and a lot of bang to him. But also, if you have in your sector anything that's like Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, those placements in your chart, consider investing more time with them because you actually have the means to actually take control of those sectors much easier. So, since you have the King of Wands, and the King is a fire element core card, because the King is fire and then the Wands is fire, so you got double the flaming. Because when you add fire and fire, you get more flaming. So whatever you decide to pursue this week, you'll actually be able to take control of it and actually get the most out of it. But when it comes to a challenge, this is going to sound pretty weird. When it comes to an obstacle or a challenge, you'll be able to take control of the obstacle and tell it to go, listen, kid, I'm kind of the king here. I kind of know how to handle you, and I kind of have the final say and the hoo-hoo with you. So if you like, you can kind of do that lovely thing and stop making a hot mess, would you? So anything that's going to be a bit of a challenge or something that's going to be rather difficult, you'll actually be able to adapt to it pretty well. And kind of remind that fire who is really the life of the... I don't know why I wanted to say the life of the party, but if you have like an issue like going to parties or social events, if you're kind of having that kind of like fear of interacting with other people, this actually might be the week where you should maybe consider being like, you know what, I'm going to go out this week. I'm going to show people that I'm not a boring person, or pretty much if you've gotten over like a very difficult part of your life and people were saying, well, he's kind of antisocial because he's went through a lot or she's endured a lot. Well, in this week, you'll be able to go out there and maybe, you know, kind of like prove other people wrong. Like, dang, I guess she's not antisocial. I guess she is a queen of sass and she's not having any BS. Wow. Didn't expect her to be all bang all of a sudden. Now, regarding your water sector, the emotions, the cheesy part, and the, oh, Romeo cheesy whoopee woo. Let's see what comes out for that one. For that, we have the Ace of Cups. And specifically in this depiction, for Toro de la Nude, all the aces have pretty much either the upper part of a woman or a woman's face for the suit. And specifically this one is the most romantic and the most cheesiest of them all, and kind of the most I'm trying to figure out what the right word is, but pretty much this is the one that's like the most dramatic. But the thing is, for this week, expect to actually have the understanding of pure love for yourself and pure emotion, and actually being in that state where you're fully accepting of yourself, and that you're having that understanding of unconditional love for thyself. Because the ace is one, and cups is water. If you want to go with water, I mean, you can have a cup of booze and have at it, but in this case, it's probably best if it's water, because water is the most nourishing. But expect this week to be very rejuvenating for yourself, and ensure that you fill up your cup to the fullest potential first, because that seems to be like the recurring message here, to make sure that your standing is in the best before anybody else's. Because if you're standing well, and if you're being able to handle for yourself and accept yourself, then it really don't matter what the world throws at you, because you're like, okay, that guy that I had an interest in, and all of a sudden he's gone, that's okay, because I know I'm doing just fine, and he's just an idiot. Or my boss fired me from that job last week, that's okay. I know I deserve better anyway, besides unemployment. How about them apples? But for your advice this week, no, not advice this week, but like the actions you should take, which is going to be a 3-card pull. We're just smack all together at once. You gotta let go of the card first, dummy. We have the first one, the World. The King of Swords. I just can't get over why in the heck. Whenever I see this King of Swords, I think, oh, wow, look at that. He's from World of Warcraft. Okay. I mean, whatever. And lastly, the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Sass. But in this depiction, she's different. Much different. Much different than how she's usually depicted flipping off someone. Okie doke. So, in order to have full, completion of this cycle of whatever was something very difficult, and to have something start new, you have to have a perfect balance of the King of Swords and the Queen of Swords. You need to have the perfect balance between the two, because both of them, especially in these depictions, is a different energy. You have the Queen of Swords, who is much more peaceful, introspective, and more reflective. And she's kind of playing her blade. Yeah, she's playing it kind of like a... I can't remember exactly what that instrument's called, but it's like a big violin. A tuba? No, not a tuba. Pretty much, yeah, that big giant thing that looks like a violin, but bigger. So yeah. So make sure you know you can handle playing your self in a way that is very reflective and very good at self-reflecting. But also at the same time, on the physical, mundane world, you're actually able to leave a presence that's like, okay, listen, kid, I'm not really in the mood for BS because I need my serenity first. Because I'm over here trying to play me fiddle me dicks and be at peace. But just said, like, I'm not afraid to, stab you if you won't allow me to play my fiddle me dicks. So let me play my fiddle me dicks in peace. Because when you have the balance of those two energies come together, you actually be able to accomplish something. And okay, for group giggles here, give me one more card. Well, she didn't have to throw it out at me, people. Because once you actually balance out the energies, you actually will end up as the Angel of Daela Nu, which is the special card of this deck that says pretty much your suffering will come to an end and you actually become more comfortable in the dark, if that makes sense. In other words, an area of your life where it used to be very uncomfortable, you actually become very accepting over. And think of it as not a big deal. And be like, okay, well, I've already done the work for this. I'm not afraid of this place anymore. Or I'm not afraid of this dark area of my life. I can handle it, no problem. Where before you're like, oh God, not again with this dark angel stuff again. I gotta suffer? Please no. You actually be able to adapt to it pretty well. So, Cancer, that's what I have for you this week. And then I'll see you guys on the next week then.